Good evening, everyone. I'll call the City Council to order at 8 o'clock on Monday, November 27th, 2023. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We have 16 items on this evening's agenda, and I will ask the City Clerk to please read agenda item number 1.
Minutes of the City Council meeting, November 13th, 2023.
Councilor Dumas.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move to accept and place on file.
Motion made and seconded, accept and place on file the minutes. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? The minutes are filed, 10-0. Agenda item number 2.
Now is the time for the public hearing on the petition for Massachusetts Electric to install underground electric conduits, including necessary sustaining and protecting fixtures, on Donald Lynch Boulevard, beginning at a point approximately 550 feet northeast of the center line of the intersection of Donald Lynch Boulevard and Bigelow Street, and to install underground facilities near 200 Donald Lynch Boulevard, order number 23-100-9005.
Okay, this public hearing will be taken up in 4 stages. First, with the public speaking in favor. Second, questions from the public. Third, public speaking in opposition. And fourth, questions from the City Council. Do we have anyone, does the applicant here to speak in favor? Don't see the applicant here, so I will ask for a motion to continue the public hearing to our December 4th meeting. Mr. Chairman? Or Councilor Navin? Someone want to make a motion to continue the public hearing?
You want me to make the motion?
Yes, sir.
I'm thinking of something else here. Okay, make a motion that we do the public hearing into the December meeting.
We'll continue the public hearing till, we'll make sure we turn his mic on. We'll continue the public hearing. Motion has been made and seconded to continue the public hearing to December 4th, 2023 at 8 p.m. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? The public hearing is continued until December 4th at 8 p.m. Agenda item number 3.
Communication from the Mayor regarding gift acceptance in the amount of $1,000 from the Marlborough Foundation awarded to the Council on Aging to be used for assisting our seniors with food and security issues.
Councilor Irish.
Thank you, Mr. President. Motion to accept the gift, please.
Motion made and seconded to accept the gift. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? The gift is accepted, 10-0. Agenda item number 4.
Communication from the Mayor regarding grant acceptance in the amount of $175,734 from the Massachusetts Department of Energy Resources through the Green Communities Program awarded to the City of Marlborough to be used to make energy improvements at the Recreation Building and Marlborough High School.
Councilor Irish.
Thank you, Mr. President. Motion to approve the grant.
Motion made and seconded to approve the grant. Is there any discussion on the motion? Councilor Doucette.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I think this is a great opportunity for the city to not only save money, but reduce the fossil fuel emissions that the municipality does. So, great opportunity for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Doucette. Councilor Oram.
Yes, and I'd like to echo Councilor Doucette's comments and also note, I know in budget meetings, especially for the fiscal year budget, we are always talking about the energy cost. So it's just not clean and green, which is so important to the environment, but hopefully we'll see some cost savings by using renewable energy. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Oram. Any other comments or discussion on the motion? On the motion to approve the grant, all those in favor? Opposed? The grant is approved, 10-0. Agenda item number 5.
Communication from the Mayor regarding grant acceptance in the amount of $3,020,536 from the Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities awarded to the City of Marlborough to be used to support the continued redevelopment of French Hill by funding the 3rd and final phase of the infrastructure improvements of Lincoln Street.
Councilor Irish.
Thank you, Mr. President. Motion to approve the grant, please.
Motion made and seconded to approve the grant. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? The grant is approved, 10-0. Agenda item number 6.
Communication from City Solicitor Jason Grossfield regarding a request for executive session to discuss litigation strategy relative to JW Capital Partners, LLC and Marlborough TOTG, LLC versus the City of Marlborough.
Mr.
Councilor
President.
Doucette.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Motion to move this to the end of the agenda, and after this one, not to reconvene.
Motion made and seconded to move the executive session to the end of the agenda, and we will not reconvene after that, and we'll discuss that at the end of the agenda. All those in favor of the motion? Opposed? Motion carries. We are going to move that to the end of the agenda, 10-0. Agenda item number 7.
Communication from Assistant City Solicitor Jeremy McManus regarding the application for a special permit from Attorney Brian Falk on behalf of Somar Landscape, Inc., excuse me, to construct and operate a landscaper's yard at the Airport Industrial Park, 59 Airport Boulevard, Unit 16, in proper legal form, order number 23-100, 8965C.
Councilor Doucette.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Motion to move to item 16.
Motion made and seconded to move this item down to agenda item number 16. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none of those in favor? Opposed? This is going to move to agenda item 16. The vote is 10-0. Agenda item. Did the gentleman from National Grid just show up? You are okay. All right, hang on. Councilors, if it's okay with you, we will go back to agenda item number 2 and conduct the public hearing for the petition request for National Grid or Mass Electric. Everybody's on board? Sure. Okay, we're going to go back to agenda item number 2.
Now's the time for the public hearing of the petition for Massachusetts Electric to install underground electric conduits, including necessary sustaining and protecting fixtures on Donald Lynch Boulevard, beginning at a point approximately 550 feet northeast of the center line of the intersection of Donald Lynch Boulevard and Bigelow Street, and to install underground facilities near 200 Donald Lynch Boulevard, order number 23-100, 9005.
Okay, we take this public hearing up in 4 stages. First, with the public speaking in favor. Second, questions from the public. Third, public speaking in opposition. And finally, questions from the City Council. So we'll open the first part of the public hearing with the public speaking in favor, starting with the applicant. Please state your name and address for the record.
My name is Jeff Silva, National Grid.
Okay, Mr. Silva, you want to just give a little update on what the project entails?
Project is to install a switchgear to provide power for the building load up at 200.
Thank you. Any other comments or any other members of the public speaking in favor? Oh, that's right. We do have a communication from the city solicitor that I'd like to have the city clerk read into the record at this time.
We received communication from the city engineer, Thomas DePercio. He has reviewed the petition of Massachusetts Electric to install equipment in the public way near 200 Donald Lynch Boulevard. The location shall be, he is asking for the following conditions to be applied. The location shall be marked out for approval by the engineering division prior to the work. Any disturbance of the public sidewalk or other structures in the public way shall be repaired upon completion to the satisfaction of the Department of Public Works. And he recommends also that the standard 11 conditions that apply to utilities be also applied to this.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. So any other members of the public speak in favor? Any other members of the public speak in favor? Any other members of the public speak in favor? Hearing none, I close that portion of the public hearing. Questions from the public? Questions from the public?
Hi, this is Steve Beck from Victoria Lane in Marlborough. My question is, how much of Donald Lynch Boulevard will have to be dug up? Not much. The plan is to put the switchgear over the existing infrastructure that's there to save on.
Tearing up the road.
I did not see a new building at 200 Donald Lynch Boulevard. Is there something that?
There's the new company's going in that's doing a significant amount of rework interior to the building, Steve, and they require some additional electric service, which is what the National Grid folks are doing. You're welcome. Any other members of the public with questions? Any other questions from the public? Any other questions from the public? Hearing none, I close that portion of the public hearing. Any members of the public speaking in opposition? Any members of the public speaking in opposition? Any members of the public speaking in opposition? Hearing none, I close that portion of the public hearing. Questions from the city councilors? Questions from the city councilors? Questions from the city councilors? Hearing none, I close that portion of the public hearing, the entire public hearing, and this is in public service. Councilor Landers.
Well, thank you for calling me on this, but what I'd like to do is, if possible, let public services move on this tonight. Have the city clerk read the city engineer's conditions, and if there's any discussion, from the city council.
So you want a suspension of the rules to remove? So there's been a motion from the chair of public service to suspend the rules to remove the item from public service and place in the hands of the council. All those in favor of the suspension? Opposed? The suspension is approved, 10-0. Mr. Chairman,
So we'll have him read that.
so you want a motion to, approve?
City council read them the conditions and then I'll come back with a motion to approve.
Okay, you want to read them all? They're all the standard conditions. You want to read them? Go ahead.
Yes. In addition to what was stated earlier, the location shall be marked out for approval by the engineering division prior to the work. Any disturbance of the public sidewalk or structures in the public way shall be repaired upon completion to the satisfaction of DPW. Also, the standard conditions are: 1, any necessary easements to be obtained from affected property owners. 2, a street opening permit must be applied for and proposed contractor by the proposed contractor performing the work. 3, the contractor performing the work must obtain a street opening bond with the City of Marlborough. 4, the contractor shall provide the engineering division pre-construction photos of driveways, sidewalks, lawn areas, and roadway areas impacted by construction activities. 5, a proper staging area is to be located, acquired before the work commences. Material and equipment is not to be parked or stockpiled within the city right-of-way or the private property unless permission is granted in writing by the property owner. 6, the contractors ensure residents are always able to enter and exit their driveways, have necessary steel plating on the site and accessible. 7, ensure construction safety controls are established and are in accordance with the latest MUTCD standards. 8, trench backfilling, compacting, temporary, and final paving are to be done in accordance with the City of Marlborough standard trenching details. 9, trenches are to be paved and completely backfilled and compacted at the end of each workday. Trenches are never to be left unattended. 10, post-construction loaming and seeding are to be done in accordance with the 1995 MHD standard specifications, Section 751 and 765. And 11, proposed utility poles. Well, that one would not apply. I apologize.
Council Landers.
Thank you, Mr. President. He did a very good job. He read that rather fast. Okay, at this point, Mr. President, I'd like to make the motion to approve.
Motion made and seconded to approve the petition to proceed with the work at Donald Lynch Boulevard in Bigelow to support the 200 Donald Lynch Boulevard facility. Any discussion on the motion? Councilor Orem.
More of a note. This is the same building that we're going to be reviewing in a little bit for Sartorius for the TIF. So I think it was appropriate that the chairperson move this along tonight, especially if the TIF gets approved.
Yeah, no,
But
thanks.
just so the general audience knows the building we're
Yep.
talking about, because it's out of the norm, but I can understand why the chair wanted to do it out of the norm.
That and the end of the construction season, so we'd like to get that in before everything
Good points.
wraps up.
Thank
So
you.
any other discussion on the motion to approve the petition from Mass Electric? All those in favor? Opposed? The petition is approved, 10-0. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President.
We are at agenda item number 8.
Communication from the Planning Board regarding a neutral recommendation of the proposed amendments to City Code, Chapter 650 zoning by adding a new section to create the Sassaville Way Residential Overlay District, Order Number 23-100, 8941.
Mr. President.
Councilor Doucette.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Motion to accept and place on file.
Motion made and seconded to accept and place on file the communication from the Planning Board. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Communication is filed, 10-0. Agenda item number 9.
Mr. President,
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm going to be recusing myself from this item. I am a direct abutter to the Red Spring Road overlay. Thank you.
We will let the record reflect that Council Orem will not be participating in this item.
Communication from the Planning Board regarding a favorable recommendation on the proposed amendment to City Code, Chapter 650 zoning to add a new section to create the Red Spring Road Overlay District, Order Number 23-100, 8951.
Councilor Doucette.
Thank you much, Mr. President. Motion to accept and place on file the recommendation.
Motion's made and seconded to accept and place on file the recommendation from the Planning Board. Any discussion on the motion? Councilor Doucette.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Having gone through this and read through it in detail, I think this is a textbook case on how to take a legal mess of property rights and ownership and actually structure it in a way that gives the community a chance to go forward in a coherent way. And I got to give these folks compliment for getting this stuff done. I know there's a bunch of lawyers involved, but they did a great job.
Thank you, Councilor Doucette. Any other discussion on the motion to file? All those in favor? Opposed? The communication from the Planning Board is filed, 9 in favor with 1 abstention and 1 absent. Agenda item number 10.
Petition for Massachusetts Electric and Verizon New England to install one joint-owned pole on Hayes Memorial Drive beginning at a point approximately 350 feet northwest of the center line of the intersection of Nickerson Road for new commercial service at 1000 Nickerson Road.
Councilor Landers.
Thank you, Mr. President. Please refer it to Public Service Committee and also set a date for a public hearing.
Motion made and seconded to refer to the Public Services Committee, and we will have a public hearing on Monday, December 4th. So on the motion to refer to Public Service and set a public hearing for December 4th, any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? It is going to Public Service with a public hearing on December 4th. Vote is 10-0. Agenda item number 11.
Petition from Massachusetts Electric and Verizon New England to install one joint-owned pole on Cimarano Drive beginning at a point approximately 50 feet southeast of the center line of the intersection of Cimarano Drive and Bay Drive, installing a mid-span pole between pole 10 and pole 8-50, and install a 900 kVAR on it. No idea what.
Councilor Landers.
Again, thank you, Mr. President. Please refer this to Public Service Committee and also set the date for the public hearing.
Motion made and seconded to refer to the Public Services Committee, and will also set a public hearing for December 4th. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? It's going to Public Service with a public hearing on December 4th. Vote is 10-0. Agenda item number 12.
Communication from property owner regarding opposition to the proposed zoning amendment to Chapter 650 zoning to amend Section 22, Retirement Community Overlay Districts, Order number 23-100, 8964.
Councilor
President.
Doucette.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Motion to accept and place on file the communication.
Motion is made and seconded, accept and place on file the communication. Any discussion on the motion? Councilor Oram.
This being such a large legal response, and it was sent to our city solicitor, I was just curious if indeed we may see a response on this from our city solicitor.
He has, there is an email, I'll make sure that you have it, that
Okay.
it's responding to the
Just curious.
petition. Yep,
Thank you, Mr.
you're
President.
welcome. On the motion to accept and place on file, all those in favor? Opposed? It is filed 10-0. Agenda item 13.
Minutes of boards, commissions, and committees.
Mr. President?
Councilor Doucette, you're a busy guy tonight.
Yes, I am. Motion to accept and place on file the minutes of the boards, committees, and commissions.
Motion made and seconded, accept and place on file all the minutes. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? It is going to be filed 10-0. Reports of committees. Who wants to go first? Councilor Irish?
Thank you, Mr. President. Finance Committee met on November 20th, 2023. We convened at 7 p.m. We had one item on the agenda that evening, order number 23-100-9003, communication from Mayor Vigent, together a proposed City Council resolution, and tax increment finance agreement with Sartorius, a global biopharmaceutical company at 200 Donald Lynch Boulevard, map 26, parcel 9. Chair Irish read the mayor's letter addressing the tax increment financing agreement with Sartorius Stadium North America Incorporated, with 2 locations in Marlborough at 150 Log Drive and 450 Donald Lynch Boulevard. Sartorius plans to invest $100 million to build out a portion of a building at 200 Donald Lynch Boulevard that will bring 120 new full-time jobs by 2025. Sartorius is seeking a local-only TIF incentive that will help them unlock credits with the Mass Life Science Center. Sartorius stated that the 2 existing locations will remain, along with the warehouse on Elm Street. The 120 new jobs are not being relocated from the existing locations in Marlborough. On a motion by Councilor Oram, seconded by the chair, the committee voted to recommend approval of the tax increment finance agreement and the proposed City Council resolution, as submitted by Mayor Vigent. Vote carried 4-0. Meeting adjourned at 7:26 p.m., and I will be asking for 2 suspensions this evening. First suspension is to accept the communication from the city solicitor.
Okay, the chair's asked for a suspension to accept the communication from the solicitor on the TIF. All those in favor of the suspension? Opposed? Suspension carries 10-0.
Motion to accept the communication from the city solicitor.
Motion made and seconded to accept and place on file the communication from the solicitor. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? The communication is filed 10-0.
Next suspension I will be asking for, Mr. President, is to vote on order 23-100-9003, the TIF.
The chair has asked for a suspension to be able to vote on this item this evening. All those in favor of suspension? Opposed? Suspension carries 10-0.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move the recommendation of committee to approve the TIF agreement and to approve the City Council resolution, please.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the TIF agreement and the City Council resolution. Any discussion on the motion? Councilor Oram.
I'd just like to stand to note why I was in favor of this. One, it's a 5-year TIF. I appreciate seeing 5-year, not 10 years. Second, it will provide more jobs, and speaking to the applicant at the Finance Committee meeting, they did say, and they are aware of the need for training our youth, the people getting in our secondary schools, and further to get them involved in this type of work, high-tech work, in the it's kind of the pharmaceutical slash high-tech industry. So with those two, I thought it was important, especially attracting businesses of this type into Marlborough. As I said at the meeting, we are the star on the map, and we're starting to attract high-tech business and more high-tech business such as Moderna. So with that said, I just want to explain my reasoning for my motioning to approve.
Thank you, Councilor. Anyone else? On the motion to approve the TIF and the City Council resolution, all those in favor? Opposed? It carries 10-0. Anything else, Councilor Irish? You're good? No, there's not. Just checking. Councilor Doucette.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I'd like to report on the Urban Affairs meeting of November 15th, 2023. First item on the agenda was order number 23-1008721H, communication from Attorney Gemma Cashin, on behalf of Tremolo Crow Company, regarding the proposed amendment to City Code, Chapter 650 zoning, by adding a new section to create accessible way residential overlay district. This meeting was continued from November 30th, 2023. Present for the petitioner was Attorney William Pizzoni, Dave Pitney, Attorney Michael Flannery, Golson and Stores Michael Schellberg, VP Development, Tremolo Company, Patrick Sullivan, Senior Associate, Tremolo Crow Company, Carolyn Hewitt, Senior VP, Tremolo Crow Company. The chair explained that there's no screen available in council chambers, but the councils were sent a document with copies that were provided, with some given to audience members. Attorney Flaherty went through some of the changes proposed in initial submission to now. The proposed changes included: special permit would be required for developing the site. Maximum square footage for business use would be reduced from 10,000 square feet to 8,000 square feet. Maximum square feet for consumer service established, complementary to other principal uses, would be reduced from 10,000 square feet to 8,000 square feet. Maximum square feet for restaurant, food, indoor out cafe with or without table service or brew pub would be reduced from 10,000 to 8,000 square feet. Maximum square feet of a consumer service established complementary to other principal uses would be reduced from 10,000 to 8,000 square feet. Affordable dwelling units would increase from 10% to 12%. Building height in non-habitable structures would be measured to the average height between the plate and ridge on a gable hip or gambrel roof. Minimum front and side yard set would change from 50 feet to exception of minimum front yard setback 25 feet for business uses. Combined lot coverage would be reduced from 50% to 45%. Maximum residential density would change from 15 units per acre to 13 units per acre. The chair then went through items relevant to this meeting, including a draft transcript of the council's public hearing on September 8th, 2023, letter from the Conservation Commission with their comments, concerns, and recommendations, letter from David Mark, president of the Aspet River Rail Trail, the minutes of the Planning Board public hearing on October 23rd, continued to November in the November 13th meeting packet, a copy of the Planning Board's recommendation, a copy of the letter from Timothy Nelson on behalf of Boston Scientific supporting the approval of the zoning and proposed housing development, a fiscal analysis and traffic management study, a memo from Dave Pitney explaining why they believe the zoning amendment requires only 6 votes instead of the normal 8. The solicitor has been copied and will give a ruling, which I don't think we've received yet. Second memo from Dave Pitney in support of the proposed Sassaville Way Residential Overlay District, describing design changes and rezoning language modifications, answers to questions asked at the Planning Board's October 23rd meeting, color-coded document delineating the proposed changes to the zoning document, and communication from City Engineer DePercio with proposed changes to the zoning, with comments from himself, Priscilla Ryder, Conservation Building Commissioner Hathaway, on behalf of the Site Plan Review Committee. The chair asked Solicitor Grossfield if he had a chance to review the questions came up in the Planning Board as to whether or not he had a proper petitioner to initiate the zoning agreement. He is reviewing and will let us know as this goes through the review. The chair then began going through the document with changes highlighted and incorporating questions, comments from Site Plan Review Committee. One comment from Site Plan was to review whether the city would be better served with residential only overlay, another whether to proposed density of 13 units per acre was appropriate for the site, this would be matter for later discussion. There was a recommendation that Site Plan Review Committee be the approval granted authority for site plan with the council as special permit granting authority. This is agreed to by committee, and the changes to be made by the solicitor working with the petitioner's attorneys. Section D1 lists uses permitted by right would be reviewed by solicitor for redundancy. Section D1C, any business with less than 8,000 square feet is limited to the following list in 3 health, sports, and fitness clubs. Section D2 lists health, sports, and fitness club and related facilities as accessory to a multifamily dwelling use. It was clarified that the former is a public facility, with the latter being the private facility. Councilor Navin moved to strike the public facility described in Section D1C3 and was seconded by and carried 4-0. Section E, affordable housing, was discussed, with the issue being the code required 15% with some buyout allowed. Councilor Doucette moved to allow the petitioner's change from 10 to 12% to stand. It was seconded and the vote failed 2-2. The language will be changed to 15%. In F, dimensional requirements, site plan recommendation was to change the minimum acreage to be developed as the overlay district from 20 to 23. Consensus of the committee was to make the change in section F3, minimum side and rear yard. Site plan review recommended adding new language at the end of the parentheses, and except the minimum yard requirements shall be no less than 200 feet from any existing improved single-family lot, and 200-foot riverfront area as defined by the Wetlands Protection Act and verified by the Marlborough Conservation Commission shall remain unchanged. Petitioner has issues with this, but agreed to adding unless approved in the special permit at the end of the new proposed language. They then discussed the first part of the 200 feet with any improved single-family lot. This recommendation was held for final decision until the next meeting, when members of site plan could attend and discuss. As we went through the document, it was agreed that the solicitor would work with the petitioner to amend language that mentions the city council as site plan review. In section K, application 3 language would be added that a balloon test would be done concurrent with the public hearing associated with the special permit. In L, amendments, number of votes amended would be determined by the solicitor's ruling, a number of votes approved for the special permit. The chair then reviewed the recommendation of the planning board, which was a neutral recommendation, approved 7-0. They included their reasons for the decision, as well as items to be considered by the council. There was consensus that the items would fit more to discuss at special permit time. It was agreed to keep this in committee for discussion at the November 30th meeting that is scheduled. The solicitor and the petitioner will go through the language with changes. We agreed to do so that we can have a draft final document ready to review at that meeting. That document also be on the December 4th City Council meeting agenda. A suspension of rules would be required to vote that evening so it can meet the deadline imposed by under Mass General Law, Chapter 48. The second item on the agenda was order number 23-100872-1H, proposed amendment to Chapter 650 zoning relative to definitions of affordable housing and Marlborough Village District zoning. The chair read the planning board's letter with their favorable recommendation approval by a vote of 5-0 with 2 members absent. The letter also included some recommendations were discussed, but no motions were made to amend the draft zoning. The chair proposed an amendment to include language that is in the Wayside zoning district. A facade step back in the facade of a building shall occur on upper floors for all buildings above 3 stories in height. For example, the 4th floor of a 4-story building shall be recessed from the lower 3 stories of the primary facade with a step back. 5 feet shall be the minimum step back. She suggested to go into 650-34 Marlborough Village District, Section D, Design Standards 2A, building scale as a new number 4, to be added between Section 6 and 7, or where the solicitor feels it fits best. Councilor Navin moved to add the language. It was second and carried 4-0. Councilor Doucette moved to recommend the approval of the order as amended. It was second and carried 4-0 with 1 absent. The chair will report this out on November 22nd. Asked for the suspension to refer to the solicitor and put it proper form for the December 4th meeting for a vote to meet the deadline. Councilor Doucette moved to adjourn. Second was carried 4-0. Meeting adjourned at 9:55 p.m.
You'd like a suspension of the rules?
I'd like to get a suspension in the rules. Let's see. Actually, first we need to take item 6 and accept and place on file. item 6, or the suspension of the rules to pass it.
Chair's asked for suspension of the rules to send this to the solicitor. All those in favor of the suspension?
Aye.
Carries 10-0. Then your motion is to?
Motion is to send it to the solicitor.
Motion made and seconded, refer this item to the solicitor, put in proper format so we can vote on it at our next meeting. All those in favor? Oh, is there discussion?
Both of these orders?
No,
Just the
Just the,
downtown village.
right, just the Marlborough Village, that's it. The other one's going to be on the 30th anyway.
All those in favor of sending the downtown village to the solicitor to be put in proper format for our next meeting, please signify. 10-0, it's going to the solicitor and will be on our next agenda. You want to make any announcements on,
Yes, I do. The
Affairs
next
meetings?
Urban Affairs meeting is going to be November 30th, and 7:30, I believe, is the time.
next urban affairs meeting? So again, that's November 30th. They're taking up Robin Hill Street zoning, Saskville Way zoning, Red Spring Road zoning. Bring a lunch. Any other reports of committees? Hearing none. Agenda item 14.
Order number 22-100, 8553, a communication from the Planning Board regarding House Landing subdivision, recommending acceptance of Geikus Lane as a public way. The recommendation of the Public Services Committee is to file.
Councilor Landers.
President, motion to file.
Motion made and seconded to file the communication from the Planning Board. All those in favor? Opposed? The communication is filed, 10-0. Agenda item 15.
Order number 22-100, 8691, a communication from Assistant City Solicitor Jeremy McManus regarding House Landing subdivision and the acceptance of Geikus Lane as a public way with historical documentation. Recommendation of the Public Services Committee is to approve.
Councilor Landers.
Thank you, Mr. President. Motion to approve.
Motion made and seconded to approve the acceptance of Geikus Lane. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? It is approved, 10-0. Agenda item 16.
Order number 23-100, 8965C, application for a special permit from Attorney Brian Falk on behalf of Solmar Landscape, Inc. to construct and operate a landscaper's yard at the Airport Industrial Park, 59 Airport Boulevard, Unit 16. Recommendation of the Urban Affairs Committee is to approve.
Councilor Doucette.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. So at this point, we motion to accept and place on file item number 6, communication from solicitor item 7. Communication from a city solicitor, Jerry McManus, an application of special permit for the landscaper yard at the Airport Industrial Park, order number 23-1008965C.
Motion made and seconded to accept and place on file the communication from the solicitor on agenda item 7. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor? Opposed? The communication is filed, 10-0.
And also motion to approve the item.
Motion made and seconded to approve the special permit. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, I will ask the clerk to read the conditions, please.
The City Council, pursuant to its authority under Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 48, and the zoning ordinance of the City of Marlborough, hereby grants the applicant a special permit for a landscape contractor's yard at 59 Airport Boulevard, Unit 16, as shown on the plans filed, subject to the following conditions, which conditions shall be binding on the applicant, its successors, and/or assigns. 1, construction in accordance with applicable laws. Construction of all structures on the site is to be in accordance with all applicable building codes and zoning regulations in effect in the City of Marlborough and the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and shall be built according to the plans as may be amended during site plan review. 2, site plan review. The issuance of the special permit is further subject to detailed site plan review by the Site Plan Review Committee in accordance with the City of Marlborough Site Plan Review Ordinance prior to the issuance of the building permit. Any additional changes, alterations, modifications, or amendments as required during the process of site plan review shall be further conditions attached to the building permit, and no final occupancy permit shall be issued until the applicant has complied with all the conditions provided. However, that subsequent to the issuance of this special permit and site plan approval, the Site Plan Review Committee may authorize the phasing of the site and building work depending upon weather conditions and other factors. Subsequent site plan review shall be consistent with the condition of this special permit and the plan submitted, reviewed, and approved by the City Council as the special permit granting authority. 3, modification of plans. Notwithstanding conditions 1 and 2 above, the City Council, the Site Plan Review Committee, may approve engineering changes to the plan so long as said changes do not change the use as approved herein or materially increase the impervious area of the use, reduce the green area, alter traffic flow, or increase the size of the building, all as shown on the plans. 4, incorporation of submissions. All plans, photo rendering, site evaluations, briefs, and other documentation provided by the applicant as part of the application and as amended or revised during the application hearing process before the City Council and/or the City Council's Urban Affairs Committee are herein incorporated into and become a part of this special permit and become conditions or requirements of the same unless otherwise altered by the City Council. 5, stormwater and erosion control management. The applicant, its successors, and/or assigned shall ensure that its site superintendent during construction of this project is competent in stormwater and erosion control management. This individual's credentials shall be acceptable to the Engineering Division of the City's Department of Public Works and the City's Conservation Commission. This individual shall be responsible for checking the site before, during, and after storm events, including weekends and evenings when storms are predicted. This individual shall ensure that no untreated stormwater leaves the site consistent with the state's and city's stormwater regulation. This individual shall ensure compliance with all approved sequence of construction plan and the approved erosion control plan. The applicant, its successors, and/or assigned shall grant this individual complete authority of the site as it relates to stormwater and erosion controls. 6, fencing. In accordance with Section 650-18A-48 of the zoning ordinance of the applicant shall install a solid fencing to screen areas of the site used for the storage of vehicles, equipment, and materials from the street and adjacent properties, and shall maintain the fencing in good repair. The fencing shall comply with the requirements of all applicable city ordinances. 7, outdoor storage areas. In accordance with Section 650-18A-48 of the zoning ordinance, the outdoor storage of vehicles, equipment, and materials shall be located on impervious and otherwise dust-free surfaces. Materials shall be stored with sufficient protections to avoid damage to the landscaped areas and to avoid interference with the proper functioning of the stormwater infrastructure. Lawn areas shall be separated from adjacent parking storage areas with curbing and barriers to prevent the use of lawn areas for materials or vehicle storage. The bulk storage of bark mulch at the site shall be subject to fire safety conditions approved through the site plan review process. The site shall not be used to store grass clippings or similar debris. 8, indoor storage areas. Building areas used to store vehicles, equipment, and materials indoors shall be equipped with floor drainage systems designed to prevent fuel, oil, and other hazardous materials from entering the stormwater or sewer systems approved through the site plan review process. 9, vehicle repair and maintenance. The site may not be used, for major repair of vehicles and equipment, but minor maintenance of vehicles and equipment which are exclusively operated as part of the use may be performed indoors only, subject to condition 10. 10, noise and air quality. The applicant and successors and/or assigned shall comply with the city's noise ordinance and shall comply with all state and federal requirements governing air quality and emissions. 11, lighting. Exterior lighting at the site shall be downward facing and shielded to minimize impacts on neighboring properties, with a lighting plan for the site to be reviewed and further conditioned during the site plan review process. Exterior lighting at the site shall be shut off outside of operating hours, except for lighting necessary for security and emergency access. 12, compliance with applicable laws. The applicant, its successors, and/or assigns agrees to comply with all municipal, state, and federal rules, regulations, and ordinances as they may apply to the construction, maintenance, and operation of the use. 13, recording of decision. In accordance with the provisions of Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 48, Section 11, the applicant's successors and/or assigns at its expense shall record this special permit in the Middlesex South Registry of Deeds after the city clerk has certified that the 20-day period for appealing the special permit has elapsed, no appeal having been filed, and before the applicant has applied to the building commissioner for a building permit. Upon recording, the applicant shall forthwith provide a copy of the recorded special permit to the city council office, the building department, and the city solicitor's office.
Councilors, the motion's been made and seconded to approve the special permit. The conditions have been read. Any final comments or questions? Hearing none, I will ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Councilor Irish.
Yes.
Councilor Wagner.
Yes. Yes.
Councilor Landers.
Yes.
Councilor Dumas.
Yes.
Councilor Oram.
Yes.
Councilor Brown.
Yes.
Councilor Doucette.
Yes.
Councilor Roby is absent. Councilor Pearlman.
Yes.
Councilor Ossing.
Yes.
Councilor Navin.
Yes.
And yes.
The special permit for Solmar Landscape is approved, 10 in favor, none opposed, 1 absent. You're all set there, Mr. Falk. We go to our executive session item that we moved to the end of the agenda. I'll ask the clerk to read the order, please.
Move that the Marlborough City Council meet in executive session under purpose 3 of the Open Meeting Law, Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A3, to discuss strategy with respect to litigation, if an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the litigating position of the public body. Regarding the pending matter, JW Capital Partners, LLC, and Marlborough TOTG, LLC, versus the City of Marlborough. As the chair hereby declares that discussion in an open session may have a detrimental effect on the city and the city council's litigating position. The city council will not reconvene in open session after the executive session.
Councilor Doucette, you want to make a motion to approve the order?
Motion to approve the order?
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the order. I'll ask the clerk to have a roll call vote. This is to go into executive session, and we will not reconvene.
Counselor Navin.
Yes.
Counselor Wagner.
Yes.
Counselor Landers.
Yes.
Counselor Ossing.
Yes.
Counselor Doucette.
Yes.
Counselor Dumas.
I'll abstain from this vote.
Counselor Brown.
Yes.
Counselor Irish.
Yes.
Counselor Pearlman.
Yes.
Counselor Roby is absent. And Counselor Oram.
Yes.
9 in favor, 1 abstention, 1 absence.
So the council has decided to go into executive session by a vote of 9 in favor, 1 absent, 1 abstain. So we will go into executive session, and I will ask the chamber to be cleared and electronics turned off, and we will not reconvene. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Have a good evening.